Hello! Today I'd like to introduce a new widget in ArcGIS Experience Builder for managing branch versions in your enterprise geodatabase through published web services. But before we jump right in, let's make sure we're all on the same page. So, what is branch versioning? Well, first of all, versioning in a database allows multiple editors to alter the same data without applying locks or duplicating the data, and without affecting the live or published data. Branch versioning is a type of geodatabase versioning, and it works with the ArcGIS Enterprise WebGIS model. It uses a services-based architecture to allow multi-user editing and long transaction scenarios via feature services. Just an aside here, there are some differences between the traditional versioning model, which you may be familiar with, and branch versioning. But we won't get into this in this video. What you need to remember is that the branch version management widget only supports services with branch versioning. So more than just editing takes place via a branched version feature service, such as creating, managing, and deleting versions. And right now, all these tasks can be done through ArcGIS Pro. Being able to manage branch versions directly from your desktop, web browser, or mobile application will be the first step towards editing data and even executing utility network traces on the different versions of your feature service outside of the desktop application. So why does it matter? Well, these days, we're not limited to just accessing data from our local desktop. We've gone remote and mobile, and need to view and analyze information anywhere at any time. The way we interact with our data is changing significantly, and being able to view and manage the different versions of your service from any device in any browser aligns with today's needs and processes. So here we go. All you need to do is add the branch version management widget to your ArcGIS Experience Builder application and bring your versions anywhere you go on the device of your choice. That's it? Almost. There are a few more steps to set this up. So let's take a look at what one of these applications looks like. So here I have an application configured with Experience Builder using the jewelry box template. My map here contains one data source, a water distribution utility network feature service. The ArcGIS utility network is used to model all the components of a utility system and supports branch versioning. I'm only using this service as an example, and the branch version management widget is not limited to utility network services. It supports any service with branch versioning. The list widget on the left is listing features from my branch version service. In this case, we're looking at all the water device features in this layer, while the table widget here has a tab also listing those water devices and their attributes. There is a text widget in the bottom right, as you can see, which is configured to provide the count for all the water device features in my layer. Finally, I've also added the branch version management widget to this app, since I want to be able to switch between the versions in my feature service. This is a collapsible widget, and I can expand it to view more information and a list of the versions. The widget has a table at its center, which lists all the versions found in the database. The currently active version is shown, and this version is also identified in the table with the colored icon and highlighted text. The list of versions in the table can be refreshed manually using the refresh button, or will automatically refresh every minute, which is the default refresh interval. I can switch to any of the versions that are listed here. Changes made in this widget affect data across your app, so other widgets that use the same layers display versions accordingly. So for example here, keep an eye out for the changes in the other widgets. If I switch to this version here, I can see new features appear on the map. These new features only exist in that specific version from the database. These new features are also listed in the list widget on the left and in the table widget. I can also see the number of water devices has increased in my count in the bottom right. Let me switch back and forth again so you can better appreciate the magic. I can also use this widget to update the information for a version. So, for example, I can update this version and change its name, its description, who owns it, and even who can access it and edit the data in that version. I can toggle the option to make this version active, and when I hit save, these changes are preserved and the version is now active in my application. The information visible in a table for each version can be updated with these checkboxes based on your needs. For example, I can display the creation date information. I can also use this widget to create new versions in my database. I can define the version name, a description, define the access privileges, and the owner. This version is created directly from the current state of the default branch. If I save these changes and access this service in ArcGIS Pro, I can see this new version in my service here. Now if I decide to activate this version in ArcGIS Pro to start editing the data, a lock icon appears against the version in the widget. This means I will not be able to make any changes to that version as long as it's in use in another application. If I create a new version for this service here in ArcGIS Pro, the new version will be listed in the widget as soon as the list refreshes. I can see here that the number of versions in the list has increased. I can use the search bar to find that version by typing the version name. Finally, if I want to delete a version, I can manage it and click delete. If I confirm that I want this version to be deleted, it will be removed from the database, and any edits that were not reconciled and posted with default will be lost. So be careful when deleting versions, so you don't lose any changes to your data. So here's a good question. Do I need a map in my application to use the branch version management widget? No, you don't need a map. See here, I've configured this application to use only the branch version management widget, since the only purpose of this app is to manage versions rather than visualize data. For example, I would create this application for a supervisor who would like to create, delete, and reassign versions for their field worker staff, based on the version name, description, and the modified date. This is perfect since the supervisor doesn't need to look at the data itself while performing this task. Okay, great. So now you know how to view, create, delete, update, and assign versions in an application using this widget. But this seems very one-size-fits-all so far, doesn't it? What if I don't want to expose some capabilities, such as creating new versions and deleting versions? Well, like we saw with the supervisor example just before, you can configure your application and the widget based on your workflow and the people who will be using it for their job. And while Experience Builder allows for very detailed and personalized configurations, you can create a new application and configure the branch version management widget in a matter of minutes. So if you would like to learn more on how to configure an application with this widget, stay with me and let's try it out. In your ArcGIS Enterprise portal, or your ArcGIS Online organization, create a new application using one of the Experience Builder templates. For example, I'll pick Foldable. Give the app a title and a subtitle. And now select the data source for the map. Okay, a few things to keep in mind here when selecting data sources. If you would like to see the version switch in the web map, you will need to select a web map with a versioned feature service. You can configure the branch version management widget against a feature service or a map service. It doesn't matter. Both will work. But if you want the version switch to be reflected in other widgets, those widgets need to use a feature service as a data source. Also, in case you're leveraging collaborations between your ArcGIS Online and portal organizations, you will still be able to use your feature service through an Experience Builder application built and hosted in ArcGIS Online as long as the credentials for your ArcGIS server service item are properly stored in the organization's item. Okay, so going back to the configuration here, add the branch version management widget directly to the canvas in the header of the app. No data sources have been selected for the widget yet. But before we do that, in the content pane, I can see I have two style options, basic and advanced. The basic arrangement provides a simple version switcher with no version management capabilities and no other version information than the version owner and the version name. The advanced arrangement provides the option to switch between versions as well, along with detailed version information and the possibility to configure version management capabilities. So in my application here, I will choose the basic arrangement style as a start. I select my data source, so I can use the service that is already in my map here, or browse for the feature service or the map service. Again, all of these point to the same source branch version database, and will be recognized as the same data source in the widget. I can choose how many versions should be listed per page. So if my service has hundreds or thousands of versions, I can list up to 50 per page. And I have the option to expand the widget when the application starts, since this is a collapsible design. Also, to improve the display of the active version banner for this arrangement, I will update the size settings from the Style tab to automatically resize based on the banner's contents. As you can see now, if I turn on the live view and switch between versions, the banner size changes dynamically based on the amount of text in the banner. Finally, I can change the version that will load on start if I don't want it to be default. Let's save, publish, and launch to preview this application. And here we go, I have an application with my version service and the ability to switch between the different versions of my data. Now let's go back to the application builder and remove the branch version management widget. This time, let's add it to the widget controller instead in the top right corner of this template. And let's select the advanced style. I will need to reset my data source here, and given the advanced arrangement style, I now have the option to configure the version information available and visible, along with the management capabilities for the selected service. For the version information, I can set which fields will be available in the app, and which ones will be displayed in the table of versions when the widget loads. In the Management Capabilities section, I can configure the capabilities to simplify or limit what a user can do when using this application. Right now, a user can create new versions, but won't be allowed to delete existing versions or make changes to version owners and access privileges. If I disabled everything, you will see the switch, create, and update buttons disappear, taking away these capabilities from the app. One thing to keep in mind when configuring management capabilities in this widget is that these settings will never override a user's privileges restrictions. Even if you enabled creating new versions here, if the end user lacks the required privileges, they won't see this capability available to them when loading the application. So what you configure here will only be available to the users with the required privileges. Finally, if you'd like to further customize your application, and you'd like to change from the default blue theme, you can switch to one of the other themes in Experience Builder or even create your own, and the widget will reflect your color choices accordingly. Now, I know you may be wondering, but how about all the other version management tasks? As of today, there are some capabilities that are not available in this widget and are under consideration for feature enhancements or other widgets. The branch version management widget does not currently provide the option to reconcile and post with default, which means that the option to resolve conflicts is not provided either. There is currently no experience to preview or pinpoint the differences between versions, and historical moments in your data in a version are not currently supported and cannot be previewed. But while these are currently limitations in our widget, if you're a developer and you want to build on top of our widget, it's also possible. The widget is available in ArcGIS Online since April and is in ArcGIS Enterprise 10.9, and is also available in the Developer Edition of Experience Builder. You're welcome to modify and expand it for your needs. So get started now, familiarize with the key concepts of branch versioning, and check out the new Branch Version Management widget. Sign into Experience Builder through your organization and create your own application with the widget. After you've given this a try, let us know what you think. Take a few moments to share your feedback with us. Help us provide the tools and information you need so that we can help you be successful. Scan the QR code on your screen to fill out the survey or go to the link shown here. Thank you for watching and happy versioning.